Whether you realize it or not, every habit you reinforce, every thought you repeat, and every new skill you practice is reshaping the structure of your brain. That's not self improvement jargon, that's neuroplasticity. And here's what's crazy, this isn't just happening when you're actively learning something. Your brain is rewiring itself all the time. The question is, are you shaping it in a way that benefits you, or are you reinforcing patterns that keep you stuck? So today we are going to break down three key facts about neuroplasticity that most people don't realize. These are facts that explain why stroke victims regain lost abilities, why chronic pain can be reduced without medication, and why you can actually improve your memory, your focus, and cognitive function at any age. Cool? If you've ever thought, I'm just bad at that, or I'll never be able to change, stick with me because that is simply not true. Cool? I'm Coach Angela. Welcome to Holistic Stormcast number 15. Let's get into it. All right. So doctors used to believe that once your brain developed in your childhood, it was set in stone. If you suffered brain damage, too bad. If you struggled with learning, good luck. If you wanted to break a bad habit, yeah, not happening. But then came case after case of people proving that wrong. Take stroke recovery. There was a man in his 40s. He suffered a severe stroke. He lost function in his right arm and leg, and he goes to rehab. But instead of just adapting to his disability, his brain starts reorganizing itself. So day after day, he's forcing his weaker side to move. Even when nothing happens, he keeps trying. And eventually, his brain finds new pathways to regain control over his limbs. And so doctors see this over and over. Patients who should have been permanently disabled making recoveries that defy expectations. But that's not a miracle. That's the science of the brain rewiring itself when forced to adapt. And here's where it gets really interesting. This isn't just for stroke patients. Every time you learn, you break a habit, or you train yourself to respond differently to stress, your brain is restructuring itself the same way. Neuroplasticity isn't something that you activate. It's happening 24/7. Every time you scroll mindlessly on your phone, you're training your brain to crave constant stimulation. Every time you overreact to stress, or you're reinforcing those neural pathways. And every time that you tell yourself you're bad at something, your brain is strengthening that belief. But here's the flip side. When you challenge yourself to focus, to problem solve, to think in new ways, you rewire your brain in the opposite direction. The real question isn't if your brain's changing, it's how you're shaping it. For decades, we've been told that chronic pain, anxiety, depression, they're all things that you just have to live with, right? But the more that we understand neuroplasticity, the more we see that the brain can actually be trained to process these experiences differently. I'll give you an example. Chronic pain, it's not always about physical damage. It's often about the brain getting stuck in a pain loop. You're constantly firing pain signals, even when there's no real threat. But with targeted therapy, patients are regaining their or retraining their brain so that they can turn down those signals and regain control. So the same thing happens with anxiety. People who suffer from severe anxiety have hyperactive neural pathways that reinforce their fear responses. But there are studies that show cognitive behavioral therapy, meditation, and even like breath work can literally rewire those pathways and make fear responses weaker over time. So cool. So your brain isn't working against you. It's just responding to the patterns that it's been trained to follow, and you change those patterns and your brain follows suit. So here's something really wild. Brain scans of older adults who continue learning and challenging themselves look significantly younger than scans of those who don't. Learning doesn't just keep your mind sharp, okay? It's physically strengthening and expanding your neural network. People who stay mentally active have better memory, faster thinking, and a lower risk of cognitive decline. And this doesn't mean that you need to do calculus in your free time, okay? Because I'm not a fan. Most of y'all aren't. Okay. Something as simple as learning a new language, basics, start little. Babies learn new languages. So don't say it's too much for you, okay? But you can pick up a new musical instrument. You can take up a different route to work, which is going to force your brain to form new connections. That's pretty simple, right? We can all do that. The takeaway: if you're not pushing your brain, it's shrinking. So, what's the most important thing to understand about neuroplasticity? Well, it's this: your brain is built to adapt, but you decide which direction that goes. So, you can reinforce bad habits or you can reshape your thinking patterns. You can let your focus decline or you can train it to improve. You can let your brain get stuck in old ways of thinking, or you can keep it strong by challenging it, always questioning things. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. It's good for your brain. Neuroplasticity doesn't work for you or against you. It just responds to what you give it. And that means you are in control. So let's talk about specific ways that you can take control of your brain's plasticity on a daily basis. Here's how you can work on reshaping your brain in a positive, intentional way. Okay. Number one, break your routine. Your brain loves familiarity, but it thrives on novelty. So challenge yourself by changing small habits. It could be as simple as taking a different route to work or switching up your workout routine. The key is to introduce new experiences to your brain that force it to make new connections. Okay. Number two, practice mindfulness, um, meditate, prayer, uh, deep breathing. This can help you rewire stress related neural pathways. Okay. When you learn to focus and be present, you can really train your brain to respond to anxiety and stress with that calmness and control. Okay. And studies show that this can really strengthen areas of your brain that handle emotional regulation and attention. Love it. Number three, learn something new. This is totally easier than you think. All right. Pick up a new skill. Just start with something that's slightly challenging for you. It could be, like I said, a new language, a musical instrument, learning how to cook a different type of cuisine, a sport, anything that requires your brain to form new pathways. Do it intentionally. The more often that you learn, the more your brain adapts and strengthens. If you like reading, read books that teach you something. Don't just read stories. Read something with the intention of bettering yourself, right? Four, focus on sleep hygiene. So, as I mentioned earlier, your brain does its best work during sleep. So, to optimize your neuroplasticity, you need to prioritize high quality rest. Develop a solid sleep routine. Go to bed at the same time. Limit screen exposure before bed and aim for like 7 to 9 hours of sleep. That's when your brain consolidates its memories and repairs itself. It's literally laying the groundwork for your next level of growth. Number five, move your body. Physical movement isn't just good for your body, it's good for your brain. Exercise boosts blood flow to the brain and supports neurogenesis, which is the creation of new brain cells. And it improves your cognitive function. So, whether it's a brisk walk, weight training, or a bike ride, just move your body regularly to help your brain form new positive neural connections. Okay. Number six, Reframe negative thoughts. So remember, every time you think negative thoughts, your brain strengthens those pathways. Catch yourself when you think, I can't do that, or I'm not good enough. Instead, reframe it. Okay. Challenge that thought and replace it with something more empowering, like, I can learn how to do that, or I'm capable of growth. The more that you practice this, the stronger your brain's positive pathways will become. Okay. Now, here's what I want you to do this week. Pick one thing that challenges your brain. Okay. If you always use your right hand, switch to your left hand for simple tasks. If you read the same type of books, try something completely outside your norm. If you've been wanting to learn a new skill, start it today. The goal, force your brain to adapt to something new. Because every time you do, you're strengthening the very thing that keeps you sharp and focused and capable. Okay? Doable, totally doable. You got this. So that's it for this week's Stormcast. New episodes drop, of course, every Friday. So if you've got something out of this, hit subscribe. And if you try any of these brain training strategies, send a message or post a little comment down here. I want to hear what happens. All right. See you next time.